Welcome to another episode of Armored Fighter Cinema Review, where I'm finding that I know more than a company with $1 billion budget on a TV show, The Rings of Power. So now over 900 subscribers for this Rings of Power content. I thank you all. So I'm going to keep making more of it as long as you're enjoying it. So what does this guy, this little old me with 900 subscribers now know about armor more than a TV show with $1 billion budget? Who hired these people? So let's start. This is a credential I got this summer from participating in the combat of the 30s. If you like medieval stuff, look up the story about the combat of the 30s. So it's a recreation of a historical battle. Everything has to be accurate. I happen to have a set of armor that fits in that very specific time frame. I know how to wear armor. I put it on. I fight in armor. I've been punched in the face with shields, hit with axes. I got knocked out from a halberd in the back of the head. I know how the parts of armor that are weak. I know where to hit people. I know how to gap shot somebody so that they'll just fall on the ground because their nervous system decided to take a timeout. So I think I know a little bit about fighting in armor. And I saw this picture today of Galadriel's armor. Check out this little gap right here with her gauntlets. Now, I don't even know where they found those gauntlets because you could search hand protection gauntlets. Do it yourself on Google. You'll never find a pair of steel gauntlets without something protecting the wrist. That is so dangerous just to her. So I'm going to have a treat today because I'm going to get my own gauntlets, and I have a couple different parts of my own armor that I'm going to show you. Just what is wrong with that, functionality, how that would cause a lot of restriction of your range of motion. And we're going to talk about another part of her armor that I found is actually very dangerous to herself, where she could actually stab a part of her body with her own armor. It's ridiculous. $1 billion TV show. Little old me knows more about them. So let's get started. So I had to do it. I went and I watched episode 1, the beginning. And I watched from the beginning that she had this steel gauntlet on till the end when she didn't have it on anymore. And it was apparent when they're hiking up that mountain, when she twisted her wrist right here, how that gap opened up. Not safe at all. For you if you're wearing it. So check out these pictures of some of my friends that I fight with and against here at times. And look at all the gauntlets. Just pay attention to those. That hourglass shape, they're all steel because they're fighting with steel. But even if it was back in a real war equipment, I'm sure even if they had leather gloves and you're poor and you couldn't afford steel, it would all overlap your armor. You would do anything not to get your wrists cut. You know, so back to the $1 billion TV show. Like, look at when she pulls that sword back, when she draws it back, and that gap opens up. And now I slowed this down. I stopped on this frame, and I have to admit that I think she's so much more attractive after watching this video right here and freezing it on this frame. But don't pay attention to that pose. Look at that gap, how far it opens up. When she has her arm in that, I don't know how she gets in that position, but when it is totally straightened out, her wrist is going farther than her padded layer where that's pointed on, and it's just crazy how much of a gap that is. If you did that and someone was right there really skilled, they'd probably cut your hand right off. Anyway, so I'm going to show you in real life what it's like with some real armor parts. First, I'm going to do this with 2 toilet paper tubes. This is like a physics experiment, so you're going to be smarter today than you were yesterday. Trust me, after watching this video. So here's the metal glove, her gauntlet, where her hand's going into. And this is the arm where her wrist comes out of. Same diameter, right? The armor, her gauntlet. Pressed together. When you go to move, besides, look at that nice gap for someone to slice. Not protected at all. But besides that, there's a lot of force. So when they're pressing against these, just to move it, there's a lot of force. No matter which way you go, it's pushing. So what happens with your gauntlet? When they're the same diameter, these are some larger arms I have here, and this is a gauntlet, right? Look at the diameter. See how they're about the same? They bind, right? And this is about all the range of motion I get. Now, when you're walking around and you point your armor, so you're going to learn a term today, pointing armor. See these holes? Pointing armor is tying this into your soft layer or your padded layer, whatever's underneath your arming jacket, whatever. Pointing armor attaches it so it stays in place. This does not want to move. When you go like this, if I'm holding a sword, which we have right here, right? Look at this horrible range of motion. This is all I get, right? She probably hated filming this. This is like the only scene she's wearing hand protection. Because she probably thought, God, this is horrible. How did people fight when they can't even move their wrists? And I slowed down the footage. If you watch, when she even twirls that thing around, her arm is always like this. I bet it's just CGI of her flipping that sword around because there is literally no room to do anything, right? So when you're holding something, it makes it even worse because this leather glove in here is locked in place by gripping the sword. If I didn't have the sword and I move it, oh yeah, I mean, it'll move a little more, but that's because now my fingers are down here. So it's pushing my hand out of the gauntlet is what happens. So check this out. If I had the same gauntlet, turn the little noise there. I'm going to grab the right-handed gauntlet. This is my dueling kit. It has great range of motion because I got these things measured exactly. So I have like no room. You know, I get hit in this metal. It's just a metal, a little bit of some padding, and then it's like my skin and bones. But check this out. I'm trying not to take this other gambeson off. Look at this range of motion. Right? Let me grab that sword again. Because look at this diameter. See, in this hourglass shape, it wraps around it. This is so much bigger than this. It rolls around it. With the sword, and I have so much range of motion. This is my dueling kit. I can do practically anything I want in it. And if I have this gap open up, because I have this right here, there. I landed like one or two of those in there. It bottoms out before it hits my skin. Just barely. I've had times where I fought, and I've had a mark here because I might have been like this, and somehow something gets in there, but it's very rare. The gauntlets she has basically end right here. It's ridiculous. You cannot buy a pair of these without some wrist protection. I don't know where they got them. And these people that have $1 billion TV show, their armor is totally ignorant or has no real life experience or at least book experience. Something to know better. Besides that gap in the gauntlets, did you notice anything else odd in that picture? Let me show you my Greaves. 2 different sets of armor. These are fully encased, covers my whole leg. These ones here don't really cover the whole thing. They're open a little bit on the back. But they go down because this is where my calf is, right? This is where your calf is. It's got this little bit of a cutout. Normally, the back of your legs, where your knee goes, you can't, if this is just straight up like that, it's going to go and it's going to dig into your leg. Hers are pointed. Now, why on earth does it have a point here? When you bend your leg, like, you have a tendency to poke yourself. If you get knocked on the ground in a certain way, I guarantee you that point is going to poke her. And these are nice and shaped, right? Even these. See how there's a shape almost like a human leg, right? Why do hers look like a big old soup can? It's like, look how these are flat. But then if you look in this other shot right here, they actually almost look like this. So I almost think maybe she had 2 different sets of armor. Maybe one was for running around and doing her rolls and crazy stuff. The ones that look like the soup cans. And why is one higher than the other right here? I don't know. And on top of that, why is the bottom of it all chewed up? If you look in the back, the other person has a nice even line like this, even though it's really blurry and I'm zooming in. But you can obviously see, and even in that thumbnail I showed earlier, like the bottom of hers are all ragged. It's almost like her armor is junk. I don't know. I thought elves had real nice material. I'm going to mention something now which is like a matter of opinion from here up on her gauntlets. See how she is holding her torch? She has finger gauntlets where each finger is individual with steel plating protecting each finger. Mine are a full plate. And this is my opinion here. And I'm going to show you why it's a good opinion. But if you're fighting somebody in a war, especially like a dwarf, they have some really thick swords. This is a heavy sword. If you get hit with the fingers, right? This is a whole plate distributing that force. If I get hit here with this or an axe, I have a whole plate to distribute that force. Now, I might not be able to do an obscene gesture or point at something, but my hand is very well protected. Now, with finger gauntlets, so I have fought in finger gauntlets before, like as you can see here. And hey, oddly enough, they have wrist protection too. So I don't know where she got those goofy gauntlets of hers, but I'm getting on a tangent here. So here we go. If I get hit like this, anywhere in here, I have a full steel plate to distribute the impact. If she would be hit in a finger with something like this, I have an interesting story. It's a true story. Someone in our sport, I think it was over in Poland, with a longsword, actually cut someone's finger off with a blunt longsword because they had finger gauntlets. The guy is missing a finger because he wore finger gauntlets. I mean, they look nice. They are protective. It's better than leather. I mean, back in the day, the real medieval days, if you had anything steel, it's better than nothing. But I really think that a whole fist of steel is much better than what she's shown here in this $1 billion TV show. If you've made it this far into the video and you have not subscribed yet, why haven't you? But seriously, I hope you're enjoying the content. So we are on my final complaint of what is not safe armor-wise for your body or for my review. So we're talking about knees and the side of the knees. So check out this fan plate here on my armor and what it's for. If you're facing somebody head on and they swing a sword at you, it sort of gives some protection to the back of your knee. Obviously, armor does not wrap around the whole way. As I sort of discussed earlier, you have to have the ability for it to move. So whenever it moves like this, in the back, the armor opens up when your leg is straight. So to protect that opening back there, these stick out and mine sort of wrap around, and mine are heart-shaped like the point. And if you check out this picture of hers, you can barely see them. Hers are heart-shaped, but like the top side, sort of like this. But just check out this picture. See how hers are flush with the back of her knee? That's a big no-no. These things are supposed to stick out. Some people have really big fan plates that stick out and really cover a huge amount of surface area to cut down on that angle. So basically the difference on the when I say a heart shape, the point like mine, if someone hits it, it's going to just sort of deflect like that, maybe up or down. Hopefully not up as much because I'm more exposed back here. But in general, it's to deflect the blade. Hers are more the heart shape, like I said, like this. And it might be more something where if someone would hit it, the blade would sort of slide down, and where that V shape is down in the center, that's where it'd catch your blade. But obviously, you're not going to leave your blade there. You're going to retract it and swing in. But in general, it is a big mistake to have your fan plate, like hers in this picture, flush or in front of the back of your knee. The whole idea of the fan plate is to protect the vulnerable areas of your body, which the $1 billion TV show does not understand. So that is me, I guess you could call me the armored fighter with the cinema reviews. I had this fall off a long time ago, but I will continue to make some more content in my cosplay outfit here. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to rip apart a whole bunch of other armors in this show, so stay tuned. But I actually do have a little bit of praise for Galadriel's armor. The second set she has is very protective, and I've actually looked at many different angles. I'm going to cover that actually in another video. I think the next one might be how all the cavalry in this episode should be dead because their armor is basically worthless. And I will explain that for you gladly in one of the next following videos. So leave a like if you haven't already. Leave a comment if I can improve in any way. I'm not the best speaker. I say and so a lot. So if you get annoyed by that, let me know. Or if you just liked it in general, please let me know so I can make some more content for you. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.